If I asked you right now, what character would you delete from Don't Starve Together, who would you say? Now, most of you would agree that it'd be Walter, and to be true of this, I also asked a bunch of public servers. But I mean, why do we think this? He has an infinite usage ranged weapon, a free Chester and Beefalo, and doesn't get affected by the night sanity drain or even any sanity drain. So what's drawing people away from playing him, or even the idea of his character existing? Well, Walter does have his fair share of drawbacks, and basically all of them involve combat, so that already means that Edgy Rick won't ever try him, ever, which is amazing and probably the best part about Walter. Just kidding, but I don't think Clay realized in making him that people love melee combat, and no one really wants to poke rocks at bosses from 10 meters away. But this couldn't be the only reason, because I watched this video by Frodo Films, and he gave some great points, and I think the best point I took away from this video is that Walter's abilities are just kind of a perk soup. As in, his abilities seem to just be mashed together and not really a combo. And let me ask you this, what does Wolfgang do? Instantly you'd think strength, dumbbells, and food. But if I say what does Walter do, you'd probably think giant Wobie, no sanity drain from knights, and a slingshot. Notice how all of Wolfgang's abilities relate to each other, but Walter's abilities are all just kind of unrelated or barely related. And this leads me to another reason people just don't like Walter, and that's him being a child. No, not because he is a child, but because he has lower stats than most characters. So yeah, that's another drawback. Oh, but we can't forget his super cool ability of having a sanity aura around trees. Now this ability would be pretty cool if he was the Lorax or the Warax, you know, the whole name starting with W fetish Maxwell seems to have. Okay, I'm sorry, that was a pretty corny joke, but Walter's tree aura is a joke, and a lot of people agree, and I see why, because it just doesn't really affect his other abilities at all. Now, I know some people still like playing Walter, and that's completely fine. In fact, I love his Scout Boy design, and props to anyone that plays characters with lower base stats. But I think we can all agree that Clay just went a little over the top when it comes to his sanity drain and just overall combat defects. And I also think that him being allergic to bees was a bit of a stupid play. Because, I mean, I know he has a slingshot to just, like, range the bees, but it's still, like, such a setback. Like, no one really wants to stress about fighting bees. So how does his weaknesses really affect playing the game? Well, for starters, he's the worst character for farming Nightmare Fuel, and even if you want to do it as Walter, it basically always puts you in a dangerous position, always fighting them at low health. Makes it impossible for new players that haven't mastered a boss to fully defeat the boss, as sanity monsters will kill them if they mess up. And he constantly has to mine for materials to make slingshot ammo, and there's no way around this. And also his slingshot has terrible range, although it's not as bad in multiplayer when you have Wigfrid's and Wolfgang's tearing through bosses. I mean, besides that, he's still playable, right? Well, kinda, because the more you play Walter, the more it just kind of feels like the whole sanity system got a bad rework, and because of this, I basically always struggled with when I played Walter, and that's being in a constant trap of having no health and no sanity. And usually sanity isn't a big deal, because if you just kill a monster, then you get a bit back and you're fine. But knowing that you will have to just fight more and more, and you're constantly going insane, and not only finding healing items, but doing any tasks when you're borderline insane is pretty hard. Okay, now we've gone over how his flaws affect him, there's one more thing I also want to talk about, and that's where does Walter fit? I mean, no noobs will use him, because they aren't good at dodging. No intermediate people will use him, as they're always in combat trying to kill new bosses. And no advanced people will play him because of his severe combat drawbacks, although I could see some advanced people playing him if they're fine with being insane. But I mean, I can't really see advanced people choose a slingshot over a dark sword. Of course though, this is just a broad generalization of people's skill levels, but most other characters you can just know where they would be. For example, Wolfgang would be advanced, as he's harder to manage hunger, but has great combat benefits, and his skill set won't slow him down either. Another example is Wendy. Now Wendy fits into the beginner category, as she has a ghost that fights and gets food for it, and her skill set is straightforward and don't affect the recommended way to play the game. Now before I get angry Walter mains in the comments, I wanted to add that I think as a Wily main, having severe penalties and weaknesses can be fun and a challenging way to play the game. But Walter just doesn't mesh well and isn't really appealing to most people, but at the end of the day, Walter should be next in line for a rework anyways, which is amazing, and I'm going to be sure to use him more then. Alright, so before I end this video, I can't just not mention how thankful I am for you guys, because last video did amazing, and you guys left some great comments. And I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the support recently. Also, if you guys are enjoying these videos, consider joining my Discord. is where I'm going to be doing some community events and videos. But anyways, thanks for making it to the end, and see ya.